Hey again, everybody. Happy Friday and congrats on completing your first week of school. A lot of you, your first week of college as freshmen. I wanted to congratulate you on participating in the course and trying to navigate all of these online things. If you need to contact me, please feel free to email. Lots of you have kept in contact through email with me. And remember that if I've already posted some information you're asking about, it's totally fine that you're double checking, but I am going to route you back to wherever the information was originally posted instead of just giving you the answer because I want you to get used to relying on the announcements, my emails, YouTube live stream, and Blackboard. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. I think you can sign up for notifications when I post new stuff. So that would be really beneficial for you to just go ahead and subscribe. On a personal note, I just want to tell you that I've watched some of my lectures and I don't know what I'm doing with my eyes sometimes. I do a lot of this and looking around. So I just want to point out that I do realize I do weird stuff with my eyes. I also want to point out that sometimes the glare of my glasses makes it look like I have big black marks under my eyes, which is not real. It's just a reflection from my glasses, although I am a one tired mama professor. So you can keep that in mind when you're watching. You know, recording lectures is not something I'm an expert at yet. So I hope you've benefited from them and been able to follow along without the distracting eye rolling that I do and things like that. So today I wanted to go over an example of a diagnostic that was excellent. I mean, I was really, really impressed with this writing, especially because of the organization. So let's just review the prompt really quickly. So it says that pre-writing is required. I think only 3 or 4 out of 50 of you did pre-writing. So please make sure when you have an assignment or a rubric that you're looking in detail at every single part of it. Okay. The pre-writing piece was very important. And I can say that if people did pre-writing and completed an essay, it was really organized because they had thought through what they wanted to write, even a few little notes like on the student sample. So if you want to pull up the student sample, you go to Blackboard and then course materials and click on samples. And the diagnostic sample is the one that I'm going to be speaking about in this lecture. Okay. Oh, let's go back to the prompt. So pre-writing was required, and a lot of you did not catch on to that. So please make sure you're engaging in the full writing process when you are writing any type of homework or response for college. Now, the question in the prompt says, what role has reading and writing played in your life, and how does that experience connect to topics about what you care now? Many students wrote extensively about the role reading and writing has played in their life, but failed to make the connections about their topics that they care about now. Some of you said reading and writing influences your religious views or your political views, but did not go into detail about that. So when a prompt is asking you specifically for things, you need to move on. Remember, the example details, you got to make sure you're giving examples in your writing. Most people did have a clear thesis, so congrats on that. That's often the hardest part about writing an essay is deciding on your strong thesis statement and focus. I repeated in the prompt that I wanted you to express how your relationship with reading and writing has influenced your beliefs and values. So that was a big part of the prompt that some people just did not address at all. You focus more on a narrative about reading and writing in general, which is good pre-writing or perhaps an appropriate rough draft. Many times when I get diagnostics, they are in rough draft form. And some semesters I've chosen to have students revise them, and others I have not. And we are not going to be revising those this semester. But I will say this was the most successful batch of diagnostic essays I've ever graded, and I've been teaching at Morrisville for 6 years. So that's about 18 semesters. So congrats, congrats, congrats. Really, really a good job on the diagnostic. Okay, now let's get to the sample, which is from Ethan Fitzgerald, who gave me permission to post this and go over it with you. So shout out to Ethan. He did a great job. You can see if you pull up the sample while I'm talking to you, he has some pre-writing notes just to get him started with the thinking. So obviously that's an automatic check off the prompt, like, yes, you did the pre-writing. One thing I would suggest to Ethan is just changing the title to a more interesting title, but that's okay, not a big deal. He begins his essay with a quote from Dr. Seuss. So that's going to hook the reader right away. Most of us know who Dr. Seuss is, so it's reaching into some common knowledge from the audience, and also it's guiding the topic of his paper. So the quote he used was, "The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go." And I think that's something from a lot of our childhoods that we can all identify with. But yet again, I want to reiterate that Ethan used this quote to guide his paper, talking about where he is now because of reading and writing. So he then expands, reading more and writing more teaches people new information and influences their outlook on certain views. So he's responding directly to the prompt about viewpoints. And then he personally goes into a thesis statement that directly relates to the prompt. Influenced my religious, political, and cultural viewpoints, Ethan says. So then we know that his body paragraphs are going to be about reading and writing with religious views, reading and writing with political views, reading and writing with cultural views. And if you look through his paragraphs, all topic sentences relate directly back to the thesis statement. Okay. I really do want you to look at this sample as I'm lecturing. I haven't really figured out how to share my screen with you to go over this, but you do have it. So I hope you have it up in front of you while I'm speaking. All right. So the first body paragraph of Ethan's essay, he has firstly, secondly, lastly. So he has transition. He has a however, which transitions between ideas. And then look at the bottom of the first body paragraph. Another thing influenced by reading and writing is my political views. Then he transitions into political views. So this is like a I don't want to say cookie cutter because that has negative connotations sometimes, but it's really a packaged nice and neatly essay that responds directly to all of the prompts. Let's see here. Let's look at the second body paragraph. I'm looking at the essay as I'm speaking to you guys and recording this. Okay, so in the second body paragraphs about political viewpoints, he talks about reading through articles of the news, making it difficult to choose the political party. Then he goes into a completing detail where he gives the example exactly what he's talking about. Each party has some points I agree with and some points I do not. Then he goes even more specifically about coronavirus. Then he transitions within the paragraph to another thing is minorities and women are still being discriminated against to this day, and that should have changed years ago. A final thing is blah, blah, blah. So within the paragraph, not only within the whole essay, but within the paragraph, Ethan has transitioned between the ideas very nicely with very specific examples. All right, and then cultural viewpoints. So, sorry, all three of my children are present for this lecture, so just forgive the background noise. Let's see. Let's look at the body paragraph about cultural views, the sentence, these beliefs are what define how the people of different places act out in public and in private. As long as their cultures are not designed to bring harm or infringe on rights of other people, people need to be allowed to not have to culturally assimilate and change everything about themselves. So, Ethan's point about cultural beliefs and what he thinks should be allowed is very specific and brings a lot to the lecture. I'm sorry, I'm going to move into a different room because we have a Bob's Burgers episode playing in the background. And yeah, I don't think you want to hear a Bob's Burgers song right now. All right, now let's take a look at the conclusion. Ethan gives a summary of the whole paper, religious, political, cultural. So let's say Ethan was giving a speech about this diagnostic. We should be able to come away with this because of his ability to repeat his ideas in a creative way, knowing that his religious, political, and cultural viewpoints have been influenced, and also getting an overall idea about how reading and writing have played a part in these. For example, reading the news, trying to be informed about both sides. So he goes over those things again in the conclusion. Now, on Monday, I am going to post some lectures about generic essay structure. So this lecture that I'm posting today will pair nicely with Monday's lecture. So you might want to rewatch this essay about this sample after you view the lecture on essay writing, like the structure of essays on Monday. Now, as for today, which is August 28th, I posted an announcement in Blackboard, 2 announcements in Blackboard, and I emailed them to you. One is about the tutoring center, gives you all the information. I think when it came through on your email, there was the script got a little bit messed up, but the links should still work. Stephanie Lawhorn is amazing. I've worked under her, and I've also worked with her in the Women's Rights and Concerns Committee. She really cares about students and is willing to help you guys figure out college. And if you look at that email, the tutoring center not only provides tutoring, but also college success lectures and skills and things like that. We will be using the tutoring center. There will be a time in this semester that you are required to use the tutoring center. So please read through that email / announcement and familiarize yourself with the tutoring center now. The second announcement I posted was basically just an overview of what your expectations were for this week. You had the diagnostic. The week was kind of front loaded where you had the diagnostic that was due and you had the discussion boards, which I told you that I graded them before the due date by accident. And so if you finish the discussion board, I'll go back in there and change those grades to 100. Discussion board participation basically is if you have provided a thoughtful response, if you have provided an answer that addresses the full prompt, you're getting a 100. The discussion boards are the same as participating. They are the same as engaging with your peers. So please keep that in mind as you're completing those. Some of you noted some difficulties with posting in the discussion boards. If you're having difficulties with Blackboard, I would suggest that you call the Open SUNY line. Anytime I have an issue with Blackboard, I call them and they're ready to help. They can get into your account with you and show you how to do things. So please take advantage of that. Let me look up the contact information really quickly for that. Okay, need assistance on your Blackboard course? You can call 1-844-673-6786, and I will post that information in Blackboard as well. It should be on your homepage, but like I said, if you call that line, they can get into your account and show you exactly how to submit an assignment, download material, participate in a discussion board. So please take advantage of all these resources that you have at your disposal. And I hope you have a great weekend.